Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Welcome to Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, the flagship show of Cloudcast Media, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, incredible community champion, partner, collaborator, curator of these great conversations, and the sponsor of the show, doing amazing things here in San Diego for over 60 years. I'm really excited about this episode today for a million different reasons. We're going to be talking about cancer. We're going to be talking about how we can do better with cancer, how we can deliver the power of time, how do we leverage new things like artificial intelligence in the most positive ways to impact humanity. So it's going to be a kind of a diverse, well-rounded, hopefully robust conversation if I can do a decent job in having a good conversation with the gentleman we're about to interview. And by the way, if you've been listening to this show for 19 years, you already know I am not Drew Schlosberg. I am Charles Parisi, the CEO and founder of Cloudcast Media. But we're about to have a wonderful conversation with Rick Fultz, the CEO of an exciting new company here in San Diego, Acurion. Rick, welcome to Spotlight on the Community.
Thank you, Charles. Great to be here.
Boy, I tell you, it's so great to be sitting across from you. I haven't seen you in quite a while.
It's been a while, yeah.
But just to share with our listeners, we live in probably the greatest life sciences community in the world. When you measure by all the right metrics, I think we're number one. We beat San Francisco. We beat Boston. And it's always a good thing to beat Boston, by the way, as a New Yorker. But Rick, you're one of the executives who built this incredible trade association called Biocom. So thank you for all the amazing work for all those years at Biocom and helping turn San Diego into a global leader, a global innovator, and an economic engine unparalleled for this community. Thank you.
No problem. It's been a pleasure. Joe Panetta, my boss for 15 years as a New Yorker. I'm a North Jersey New Yorker myself, so we're all trying to beat Boston, to be fair.
No, absolutely.
It's kind of our mission at Biocom.
Exactly. Anytime we get a chance to beat Boston, it's a good thing. And by the way, can't go much further without saying here to fly the airplane here in the absence of Drew is the one and only Kristen Fogel. Hi, Kristen.
Hello.
And here we are again.
Here we are.
I think it's going to be the last episode of our Crispy Bacon Morning.
What? Why?
Because it's time to leave.
Oh, for this round. I thought you meant like indefinite.
We'll be
really nervous.
We will have more crispy bacon.
Yeah.
But Rick, I have to tell you, because Kristen, when she's not here hosting the show, she's the executive director of San Diego Writers, Inc. But she is really, really excited about this conversation today and just really the exploration of precision medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And so first of all, tell us how you found your way to Acurion, because
which is a great name, by the way.
In fact, it kind of sounds like a cure is on.
It's true. It's true.
And a cure is going to be on the horizon with Acurion and the amazing things they're doing. But
I
let's
hope
hear about
so.
How did you find this magical place with some Hall of Famers involved?
Yeah, I mean, that was the start, right? The Hall of Famers. It was the people. I've been at Biocom for a long time, 15 years, met some of the most amazing inventors, executives, VCs, on and on, academics. And so very fortunate in that role to meet incredible people like yourself, Charles, and but others in the industry. And really, in early February, I was getting coffee with Magda Marquette, one of the former chairs of Biocom, a legend here in life science.
Legend. Kristen, you can't say enough nice things about Magda. I mean, literally, this is talking rock star royalty here in the San Diego community. Keep going, Rick.
No, and so I met her for coffee in early February. I was working for a VC firm out of the Bay Area. And honestly, was just checking in with her and maybe going to pitch her on being an LP for our tech and AI fund. 10 minutes into the conversation, I'm telling her about, my passion. She knows I've built businesses to scale, and she turned around and pitched me on this role. Their CEO had left to run a 300-person company in the Bay.
Okay.
So good for him. Can't blame him for that. This is a couple-person startup, but nonetheless, her and Francois were babysitting this as CEOs, and they were looking for a new leader. And so timing was great. Skill set was there, and she pitched me on the company, and I quickly fell in love with the team, the technology. I lost my dad to cancer a year ago.
Sorry.
And this probably wouldn't have saved him in particular, but some of the struggles he went through in the diagnostic process and the treatment process could be alleviated by something like this technology, which we'll get into. So there was a calling there on a personal level as well. But first and foremost, it was the people. Magda, Francois, our scientists who are from Moores Cancer Center, and on and on. The people were amazing.
Well, listen, I'll tell you, when you mention Magda, and then you mention the Moores Cancer Center, this is a stellar startup. So not only are you dealing with that C word, cancer, which is pervasive. I don't think there's a human being, Kristen, that isn't touched by cancer. And Rick, obviously, sorry about your dad.
Yeah.
But we're all touched by it. My best friend, my brother, 5 years ago, lost his battle with cancer. So we're all touched by it, and the problem doesn't seem to be going away.
Mm-mm.
So the key here is what is in fact the raison d'etre, so to speak. How about if we do a little French on the air? What is the raison d'etre of Acurion?
So Acurion is really a simple and novel and amazing concept all at the same time. So for 100 years, everybody in the world that has a cancer, possible cancer, they get a biopsy. Mm-hmm. Everybody in the world, except for blood cancers, right? Because it's a blood cancer. But every solid tumor cell in the entire world gets a biopsy. Same technology for about 100 years. It's called an H&E stain. They stain it, they slice it, they preserve it so you can read it under a microscope. Then a pathologist looks at it under the microscope. Over the last 20, 30 years, they take digital images of them so they can zoom in and zoom out on a computer. But same process as it was really 30, 40 years ago. They look at it and they say, yes, there's cancer. There's this much cancer in the cells. You have stage 3, stage 4. It can tell a little bit about the type of cancer you have. And that's what they deliver to the oncologist. Now, with the invent of over 100 precision medicines have been approved by the FDA, for certain cancers, the doctors now say, wait, sorry, you have cancer. That's really bad news. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to wait a couple of weeks. We're going to next generation sequence your same tissue sample so we can decide on a therapeutic pathway. And so you wait. Mm-hmm. Or you go on a bridge treatment, which could be harmful to you. There's a lot of trouble in the workflow right there at that point. My dad was one of those people that had to wait. So I sat there with him saying, hey, buddy, you've got cancer and it's not great, but hang tight for about a month. Right. That's a terrible feeling, and it's costly. There's all kinds of problems with it. So anyway, our AI can read a standard biopsy and give that same genomic activity diagnosis immediately. Well, so skipping NGS basically.
Yeah, Rick, you're touching on so many things, and immediately one of the things that come to mind, because Kristen, I think we all know this in the world of cancer. It's like you have a broken finger, so you get your hand cut off. That's not the ideal treatment.
Not ideal.
But the key here is we have, and it's amazing the progress scientists have, but here 100 years later, you're saying we're still old and slow. Old technologies, slow feedback loops, and all the while. So the key is, we say you have to have the right tools to perform the job well. So if you don't have the right identification on the front end, it's kind of hard to really deliver precise medicine to a patient. Am I correct?
Yeah, and therapeutics always outpace these diagnostic tools, right? So NGS, next generation sequencing, using genomic information for further prognosis is only 20 years old at most, right? It's still being adopted in parts of the world. It's not even available, but but yet those treatments to target specific biomarkers have been worked on for 30, 40 years. So there's always a gap. So right now, like I said, in the US, over the last 5 years, there's been 100 approved precision therapies for cancer alone. But yet the tools to diagnose those are still kind of the same old process we used 20 years ago.
So how big is the gap between precision tools that are available, but they're not being used at the patient level yet? How big is that gap?
Well, so less than 1 in 20 eligible patients actually get a prescribed precision therapy, right? So you're eligible based on the kind of cancer you have. So you'll have to get screened by NGS. You'll have, but for pancreatic cancer, for example, they don't have time to get that month. They'll pass away usually from diagnosis to that 4 weeks later. They have to treat them with something immediately. There is a precision therapy that would be better for them, but they can't wait. Right. So things like that. There's also with NGS testing, you take the same tissue and you ship it to a lab. So sometimes there's tissue denigration, 15 to 20% come back as QNS, quantity non-sufficient. So sorry, we sent you to sequencing, but we can't get a proper prognosis from that. So that's a dead end for people, back to cutting the hand off, back to hardcore chemo. So there's a lot of problems. The tools that are available today is really NGS. So there is it's not like our tool is available commercially and they're just not adopted yet, right? So the use of, right now there's a biopsy and there's next generation sequencing, which takes 4 weeks, can have inconclusive results or can lose tissue. So there is no third option there.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what we have.
So we want to delve deeper into the third option, but I'm going to back up for 1 second. Because you mentioned pancreatic cancer.
I did.
So I had an opportunity recently because we work with the Moores Cancer Center on a student-run science podcast called The
Amazing.
Science Of, and we love to see it. But
Amazing.
so Dr. Andrew Lowy sat down, and he's one of the renowned national experts on pancreatic cancer, and he made a comment that, by the way, he's really quite positive on better outcomes for pancreatic cancer in terms of life, the morbidity, mortality improving dramatically in the next 10 years. But he was really, really positive on the application of AI as an amazing tool for pancreatic cancer, maybe cancer across the board, but very positive on the utilization of artificial intelligence.
Yeah, and so our invention came out of Moores Cancer Center. Scott Lippman, who was the head of it for a long time, is one of our co-founders. I believe him and Scott are well connected on this topic.
I'm sure they are.
Ludmil Alexandrov is our inventor. He runs his lab out of the Moores Cancer Center. So they're all connected on this, and that excitement about AI, I think in part comes from what we're onto. AI used in drug discovery, drug development is happening as well, right? So he could be talking about that. But for pancreatic cancer, so many people you just get diagnosed at such a late stage, right? There is no early screening, although AI could be in use for early screening of pancreatic cancer. Most people get it at such a late stage.
Right.
They can't wait for next generation sequencing. So AI has to be the solution. As we can talk about our business model, but pancreatic cancer is our quickest pathway to full FDA approval because it's a breakthrough kind of technology. So getting that biopsy, instead of almost a death sentence of you have late stage pancreatic cancer, it can be like, you have this cancer, but you are HRD, which is a condition that will tell them which path to put them on. So HRD is the first biomarker that we're going after. It's called homologous recombination deficient. So about 50% of pancreatic patients are either HRD, which is deficient, or HRP, which is proficient. That determination, that one single factor, is the key whether you go on regular chemo and a platinum, or regular chemotherapy, or you go on a platinum chemotherapy with a PARP inhibitor. And each group will respond significantly better if that's known. The problem is that most of the time can't be known because you've got to wait the 4 weeks. They end up guessing, or they end up putting them on. They end up guessing in actual practice, which is crazy.
Okay, so using your prognostics, you can shorten that time.
Yeah, it's minutes. Minutes.
So you've gone from 4 weeks
to minutes
to 4 minutes.
Yep.
And in the case of pancreatic cancer, we all know the story of pancreatic cancer, but 4 weeks is incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible in terms of the whole life expectancy issue.
Yeah, they don't wait. Like it's inhumane to wait for that test for pancreatic, so they just put them on a regimen. They hope it's right. They monitor them, see how they're responding. So it's like trial and error medicine, which is brutal for the body and for everybody involved, right? The doctors don't want to be doing that either.
Yeah. So Acurion, you Hall of Fame players. You're a Hall of Fame player. You've helped. You were a major contribution to life sciences in San Diego. Now you're the CEO. But you're also, am I correct? Haven't you been on CNN?
Ludmil, our inventor, was on CNN. Actually, he's just on NBC and Fox News this week.
Okay.
Another invention that he has. So he's Ludmil Alexandrov is one of the most cited computational biologists in the world. He is a rising star. If you looked at our press release, it's like catching a rocket by the tail is what we're doing with Ludmil here. He is a superstar amongst superstars at UCSD. And he's our inventor, right? Along with a postdoc who's our AI architect. So Ludmil is a man. He was on CNN, Fox News, and NBC this week. Nature Magazine, new publication this week.
You were the first to publish as well. Really.
We were the first in JCO, the Journal of Clinical Oncology, which is the standard for kind of best practices in cancer from clinicians' perspective. We were the first ones to. We were the first ones with peer-reviewed clinical data, right, showing response to treatments by use of our test, retrospective analysis of our test, right? So we can take ovarian and breast cancer patients who got NGS testing and then had a therapeutic response. We can run our tests using that retrospectively. We can find the same people that the NGS found as HRD, but we actually could find some more. And I can get into why we find more than NGS who weren't found via NGS to be HRD, but they actually responded to treatment in a way which meant they were HRD, and we found them via our test. So it is quicker, but it's actually more accurate than NGS. I'll tell you a quick story, but my favorite thing that I can tell my kids about what is our technology, the blueprints of your body are your DNA. Right? That's what NGS does. It reads your DNA and it says, based on these blueprints, there's something going on here in chromosome 9 that suggests you have this going on in your cell. Okay? It's the blueprint informing at a very high probability that this is going on in your cell. Well, what we're looking at is the cell. We're looking at the problem. We can read these complex patterns using AI. We're looking at the cell. So if you had a leak in your house, and you brought a plumber over, would you take him to the file cabinet and look at the blueprints of the house, or would you take him to the leak? Right? And my kids can actually understand that part of the science. We're looking at the problem.
Yeah.
Right? Blueprints, NGS, very helpful for a lot of things. But don't you want to know what's going on in the cell, like actually going on? That's the difference. That's why I said it's simple yet brilliant.
Listen, there's so many things I want to dig into, and I know, Kristen, you've got a bunch of questions as well. Because I want to explore AI. I want to explore how you built your AI tool, the power demands, and I want to talk funding because I know you're raising capital and it's a tough capital environment right now. But we can talk about that. But you've got some Hall of Famers, so we're going to take a quick break and then we're going to come back with Rick Fultz. You've been listening to Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. But we'll be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
Welcome back to Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. This show is the flagship show of Cloudcast Media. Been running for 19 years, the longest running community podcast in the country. I am not Drew Schlosberg. I'm Charles Parisi, the CEO and founder of Cloudcast Media, joined here by Kristen Fogel, who, when she's not hosting these shows and having these wonderful conversations, is the executive director of San Diego Writers, Inc. So we're back, Kristen.
We're back, yeah.
You know, it's funny. I literally get so geeked up about the life sciences industry in terms of what they do, not even from the community perspective, but for mankind.
Yeah.
And the science that's here, the capabilities that are here, and so we're gonna dig in a little more. So let's talk AI. Because
let's do that.
You've got this amazing computational biologist. Perhaps he's going to win a Nobel Prize someday. You never know. Mm. I'm sure he's on a short list.
He could. And actually, one of our other co-founders, Webb Cavaney, is on that short list for a Nobel Prize for his work back in the 80s. I hope it was the 80s. I think it was the 80s in cancer biomarkers discovery. Right, he discovered some of the first. So he's a cancer geneticist. He's also one of our founders. Yeah, like you said, Hall of Fame. I'm so fortunate. But yeah, Ludmil is one of the top computational biologists in the world, and so this is his concept of being able to identify using AI thousands of patterns in an H&E slide. So that's, I at my role at Biocom, I've seen 100 different applications of AI. This to me is like a really good one, right? Really cool. How do you take an image that a human eye can only see so much, even with a microscope, and map thousands and thousands of patterns with the answer key, right? You're retrospectively building this model, looking at, we know what happened here, we can read it. You do that a couple thousand times, and you've got an algorithm that is pretty bulletproof.
No, it's incredible.
It's awesome.
So talk. How did you go? You mentioned you have a postdoc working on the AI piece. How did you build your AI? What's your AI platform built on?
Yeah, so it's in the Amazon cloud. It's we started at the UCSD Supercomputer Center, right? Okay. So you've got all kinds of computational firepower there.
Wow.
But basically, it takes a decent amount of firepower to analyze these images at 20x resolution. You can imagine a biopsy cell gets pretty complex at that 20x. And so again, you take known samples, right? They've had sequencing, so we know what the answer was on sequencing. They've had a response to some treatment. These are through trials or real world samples, which we've gotten through various partners. And then so you analyze it. You analyze the slide itself. You create your own score of what you think is going on there, and then you kind of check it versus the answers, and you continue to build that. It took about 3 years for them to build that perfectly, right? So now it can take any variation of a cell, even not a perfect capture of the tissue, which also can happen sometimes, right? It doesn't need as much tissue as some of these NGS tests. And anyway, it's by screening it using a very complex algorithm. It's looking for morphological changes in the cell, right? In the tissue wall, in the nuclei, all different places. It's looking for these changes, and that's what's happening in the cell. And it can be identified as this condition of HRD.
So,
but there are other biomarkers down the road too. We have some. This can work with KRAS and HER2 and some of the other ones. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, and I know you're a business builder and you're the CEO. But with the AI piece, the large language models feed them massive amounts of data to get smarter and smarter and smarter. Did they? I mean, I know you're new to the team, but did they go through that whole process of
they did.
Getting it smarter and smarter?
Yeah, I'm not AI. I'm a very flawed human brain, so I captured some of it, right? Yeah. Again, what I captured is it's a very complex. Yeah. We have some world-class pathologists, including Olu, who's the head pathology at UCSD, that love this tool, right? They will admit first that we're not replacing pathologists. Pathologists love this tool. They can only do so much with a human eye consistently, right, at scale. So they're very comfortable with what they do. This is a whole new set of information that they can now add to their toolbox when they provide that first report to oncologists. So it's complex. There's about 11 key areas. We could get our scientists back on here to really dive into it. But
the funny thing too about and that's why I think what you're doing at the macro level, not necessarily even just for the cancers you're working on initially to get to market as quickly as possible and save lives, but There probably are many, many cancers that watchful waiting is better than the medicine. And we'll know that through AI, I believe.
That's right. I would say, so we chose HRD for a reason. It's the biggest decision maker for these critical deadly cancers: pancreatic cancer, ovarian cancer, triple negative breast cancer, metastatic breast cancer. Those are 4 of the top deadliest common cancers in the world. HRD, this condition that we can find here, is the treatment of those is contingent on HRD for the most part in all 4 of those, right? And there's actually a prostate cancer, a castrate-resistant prostate cancer that is down the road for this same indication. Anyway, so it's the most impactful, it's the deadliest, and that's why we went after HRD. But the concept, you're right, there are other cancers: prostate, lung, there's a lot in lung cancer, liver cancers, even some skin cancers, where there's different biomarkers that could be found using the same concept, and instantly you get that frontline information. People
exactly. Instead of
on an immunotherapy or
that's right.
Anything like that. So yeah, in not too distant future, if things go right with our test, you'd get a biopsy and you'd go through a multi-omics screen, basically looking at these biomarkers instantly on the cloud, and now you get this full report that says.
It's funny. That's why, Kristen, when we talk about, because we mentioned UCSD a few times already on this show, from their supercomputer center, the Morris Cancer Center.
Yeah.
You can literally not pay enough tribute to UCSD because it all started on their campus. The entire industry called San Diego Biotech Life Sciences started with one company on their campus.
Totally.
In 1978, I believe it was. It's incredible, and they're still making contributions, but there's so much money we spend on cancer, treating, as they say, the last cell, and we want to be focusing on how do we treat and diagnose that first cell, because we potentially can save a lot of money and potentially a lot of agony by being smarter on the front
100%. I mean, again, my time at Biocom, I worked with universities all over the world, and UCSD is just the best. Right? Again, friendly competition with the Harvards and Stanfords of the world, but man, UCSD is every bit a heavyweight like them.
No question.
It's incredible.
No question. Yeah. Plus, Harvard's in Boston, so
so forget it. Yeah,
forget them.
Yeah, we do have an NYU professor on our staff too, or on our advisory board too.
Well, so only brilliance comes out of the New York, New Jersey area. We know that, Rick.
We're good.
But it's incredible because we do have to get smarter because we live in a world. We're going to be talking about money. We've got to ration resources. Financial capital isn't limitless.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have to get smarter as a country, communities, companies about how we allocate capital. And if we can spend more money on the front end, going from 4 months to 4 minutes with Acurion, we can save so much.
You mentioned it earlier about time, right? So
the gift of time.
So what does AI do for people? Well, it can be a cost saver, of course, right? It was something manual, move it to automated. That's fine, right? It can be more consistent, okay? Something where a human eye has to catch it. Maybe you'd rather have a computer looking at it because it's consistent. But this one, time, right? An NGS test is a great technology for a lot of things, but you've got to take a tissue sample from a pathology lab, pack it up, get the right cut for the right NGS test, pack it up, cold chain ship it to the lab, wait for that processing, which may or may not work. All these logistic challenges, the time is ticking on these people, right? Yeah. It's crazy. We have these hypotheses of how we can impact putting somebody on a treatment day one, right? We know they respond better clinically. There's FDA approvals that show this. What we don't really know is the time part of that. So yes, if somebody gets a PARP inhibitor, right? And platinum chemo, that is for ovarian cancer or breast cancer, that's what you would get if you're known to be HRD. Okay, so if it's breast cancer, maybe you wait 4 weeks, you get put on platinum chemo and this PARP inhibitor, and you're known to do much better. What we don't know is what if that was 4 weeks earlier that you got put on that, right? The progression of disease is the unknown here. So it's a great solution to know that, just from a consistency and price and all that stuff. But that time, we know they're going to respond better, right? I mean, there's things that we don't even know that we're going to benefit because of time. Like that is the coolest thing for me is like, I think there's some unknown benefits here of treating people on the front line that just doesn't happen right now, right? No, because you wouldn't do that without this knowledge of this
and you can't,
genomic information.
You cannot underestimate again, that time is everything.
Yeah. It's almost hard to explain it, right? I'm having trouble explaining it because
I get it.
It's magical what we would do with that time.
There's no question. And plus I would even argue, like I have a friend of mine that he succumbed to a glioblastoma, the deadliest of all the brain cancers. And I remember going through data with his daughter.
Yeah.
And outcomes, the prognosis.
Yeah.
And even that, the data alone can be so misleading.
Yeah.
Because, the average life expectancy is 2 years. Yeah, but you got to break it down by age bands. Not if you're 75.
Age band and really when it's discovered, right, is the key missing part here. Yeah.
So there's so much we can learn because I really believe that there's sometimes the answer is enjoy the rest of your time and don't even worry about some of the treatments.
Yeah.
Just enjoy what time you have left. Or the alternative is don't get your prostate removed. You have a really, really low, aggressive tumor.
Yeah.
Do the watchful waiting thing. Because again, we've always gone hard with the therapeutics. Remove the prostate. Do this, do that.
Yeah.
And we can be so much smarter on the front end with precise medicine.
Yeah.
It's almost surprising, as great as the world is at science or this country, that we're still just now getting to precision medicine.
Yeah. And like I said, 100 approved. Most, that FDA does not approve that many. I forget the exact number of approvals every year, but 100 in the last 5 years. That's a significant portion of the FDA approvals have been these precision oncology drugs. But we have precision therapy without precision prescription.
Right.
That's what we're missing.
Well, again, I think that's why the prognostics. I love that. Love that term for a bunch of different reasons. But it's really incredible what you're doing. Is San Diego? So let me ask you a question. The lifeblood of the biotech industry, life sciences companies, of course, are patents.
Yep.
Talk to us about the Acurion patent portfolio.
Sure, we've got over 250 claims on patents for this AI architecture, the discovery mechanism, all done through UCSD's amazing tech transfer that Paul Robin has revitalized that whole organization. So we're fully patented in the U.S. and a number of different countries. Not all of them across the U.S.
Well, not all of them will care about your patents.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
We won't talk about them on the air.
Yeah, no, and I think from a practical standpoint, actually, the United States and Korea is our other good option for a variety of reasons. They have a fast track on AI detection tools.
Yeah, please tell me the Italians are really good. Rick, can you tell me that?
Just tell them. Just say yes. Just say yes.
Yes, Italy is.
Do you want me to say that the Italians are really fast movers in to?
No, because they have 3-hour slow pasta dinners. They can't possibly be fast.
I can't. Italy is my favorite place to visit. I can't say they're the fastest biotech.
Well, we I'm not sure we broke news, Kristen, that the Italians are not as fast.
I hope they're not mad at me, but no, they're not.
Okay.
They're not the fastest.
No, it's okay. So let's talk for a second here, because I really want to spend a little time talking about funding of phenomenal companies like Acurion. Because so, Kristen, here's what I know, and I don't know a lot, but when you have a deep patent portfolio, and you have a Hall of Fame team, that usually finds money. So let's talk to us about how do you go about finding money? What's the environment like right now, Rick? And this is obviously this is what you do. You're a business guy.
This is week 6 on the job, right? And really week 1 for raising our Series A. So we had, in my mind, when I came on board, we had a couple questions to answer about our regulatory path. We wanted to be very focused on where to go. Like I said, United States and Korea, there's reasons for that, instead of just shotgunning it out. I think investors want to know a pretty tight regulatory plan, especially given some of the uncertainties around our regulatory bodies in the United States.
Sure.
Right? So you better have another plan, right? And so Korea is a great second option. Thailand and Brazil are right behind that for a variety of reasons. I think it's a tough funding environment. There's uncertainty around the U.S. Regulatory bodies, which is fair.
Right. It's where we are right now.
It's where we are. AI, I think, is one of the darlings, even in the Trump administration. So I think we're in pretty good shape there. I think some other people have a lot to worry about, but so far, and any indications that there would be massive cuts to MolDX or the parts of the FDA that we'd work with, they're not there. So I think we're in good shape there. So we just had to button a couple things up. We changed the name of the company. It was called IO9, which was an old patent that we were working on, so not really related. Mm-hmm. So a rebrand, clean things up a little bit, and now we're hitting the ground running.
Well, I love the new name because
thank you.
Acurion, because
appreciate it.
A cure is on the horizon.
Yes.
With Acurion, just got to make sure you get this thing funded now. So keep talking.
Yeah. So
educate the world how this works.
Yeah. So for us, it's kind of cool. I spent a lot of time with therapeutic startups at my time, and they need $20, $30, $50 million, and then another 100 and another 200 unless there's an exit. We're doing an $8 million raise. Mm-hmm. We don't have the overhead. Our trials are retrospective data analysis. Mm-hmm. We don't have to run in-human clinical trials. That's the biggest cost saver. We don't need a massive wet lab.
Not only cost saver, but it's a time saver.
Time saver and cost saver, right? Which are related in this game, right? No wet lab, tiny CLIA lab needed for things. But so and my time at Biocom, I know how to be pretty nimble. We've got friends with CLIA labs and all kinds of stuff, so we can be pretty nimble. So $8 million should be our only fundraise. That's very unique for a biotech company.
Because it sounds like because you're using AI, you're prognostics, you don't need a wet lab, you're almost like an asset light kind of model.
Asset light, AI, software, tech almost. And so with that, I think we think we're in a unique space to get interest from not only our traditional life science investors who are keen on AI tools, but tech and AI investors as well, right? So you mentioned HybridTech is the first company here in town. We've got a meeting with David Hale himself in a couple of days.
Wow!
So we're kind of going for the usual suspects in our ecosystem here in life sciences, but also some tech and AI firms. There's a lot of these hybrid convergent funds out there. So it is literally week one of fundraising, but we are optimistic that people will understand the return. We can be revenue positive in a year and a half. That is not normal for a therapeutic company, but it makes sense for this model.
You got to hit up the folks that just gave XAI an $80 billion valuation.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, some of these
break off a little, 1/10 of 1%.
Yeah, 1/10 of 1%. Yeah. So we don't have, we're not these massive AI investments. So we think we're well positioned, despite some of the headwinds, obvious headwinds here. We do think we're in good shape.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like if we're going to $8 million is a very reasonable Series A. That's not a big chunk of capital. Do you think that, because I know one of the challenges for the life sciences community in San Diego over the years is that the pool of capital has been different than Boston and San Francisco structure.
Yeah.
How are we doing right now on resident capital?
Yeah, I think resident capital's gone way up. It's much better. I mean, you have serial entrepreneurs, right? Magda and Francois have their own fund. David has his own fund. There's 50 people like that. Mm-hmm. Half of them are from the HybridTech tree at some point in the late 70s. But so you have these repeat serial entrepreneurs who have their own funds,
and they keep the money locally.
They keep it locally, or they pulled together, right? So you have that. But also the everything can be virtual now. So we're talking to investors in LA, San Francisco. They've got scouts back in San Diego, right? Biocom hosts the Global Partnering and Investor Conference, one of the best in the world, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
And so, there's attention in San Diego, so there's money in San Diego. I think it's really healthy.
But you also mentioned Korea. Do you have a network to tap foreign capital?
We do. So, foreign capital in different countries is different. In Korea, they go IPO quite a bit for their biotechs, and the government actually is way more involved and invests in companies. But there is private equity over there. There's VCs in life science. They're popping up more and more. You've got these conglomerate companies like Samsung and Lotte, and they're investing into this kind of technology. And I had the good fortune of running our Korea business for Biocom for a number of years. So I've made a lot of connections. Our CEO, former CEO, Joe Panetta, did Japan, and he got to go to Italy and France, all the cool places.
You got Korea.
He stuck me with Korea, but man, it was amazing. It was amazing. And Korea has been an incredible part of my career working with them, and there's incredible energy there from an investment side, a partnership side, but their regulatory body is relatively easy compared to the US to navigate in this particular area. They're really keen on AI, and so they have a bit of a fast track for AI versus a therapeutic, for example.
Yeah.
So it makes a lot of sense to be in Korea.
And again, so Kristen, I'm always treating it like this. We can teach the whole community about how startups happen in San Diego in the life sciences space, and you put them together, and who's your bankers and the law firms you
all
choose.
That stuff.
Did you use one of the big law firms that's headquartered here in San Diego?
Can't cheap on law firms, man.
Who'd you go with?
Cooley.
Cooley. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
See, these names matter when it comes to getting that capital.
Yeah.
Because when a law firm says, "Hey, we're going to work on this deal," it's like a blue, what do you call it? The good housekeeping seal of approval.
Yeah.
The Silicon Valley banks and all of those players.
And again, I got to give all the credit to Magda and Francois because of who they are. When we go to Cooley, we get Ken Rollins, who runs the branch, right? That's our guy. So we there's a bit of a red carpet, I think, for Magda and Francois, and I know these folks through my work, right, very well. So
I know.
I think knowing the ecosystem here does help a startup. If you can be nimble and not make a lot of mistakes and waste money and all those things, it can really help. And investors know that, and they're willing to bet on that horse.
I bet you want to meet Magda and Francois now, don't you?
I feel like I have. I feel like they've been around in some, Well,
they're like iconic,
but
truly. They haven't been on the show.
Okay.
But Magda and Francois. Sounds like it could be actually their own podcast, the Magda and Francois
It would be quite entertaining.
I would listen to it.
Francois Hour on Cloudcast Media. It's kind of got a ring to it.
A lot to teach, yeah.
But listen, I know here. So Rick, tell me if this is still true.
Yeah.
And again, I want to use you to educate the world right now on starting a company, a great company like Acurion, because Acura is on the horizon. I believe.
This is what I hear.
I've always heard venture capitalists don't invest in ideas. I invest in people who can execute ideas. Is that still true?
100%. 100%. Again, what did I love about this company? The people, right? Mm-hmm. I've had the good fortune of helping hundreds of startups over the years, and all brilliant people, right? Good idea, but there's something about the team, how it's constructed, how they're going to work together, how they're going to solve the problems that will come up, right? We're planning a regulatory strategy, which, by the way, Feng Cao is the former CTO of Epic Bioscience. He's our regulatory guy. So absolutely have to have a killer regulatory person in-house. That is not something you do with contractors and try to cheap your way through regulatory. So that's a must-have, right?
Do you use Cooley for everything from financing to patent to regulatory?
Well, the patents are actually through UCSD, originated through UCSD, which was using Perkins Coy, which another amazing,
I know them.
Another firm.
That's Steve Ferrillo's old firm.
Well, Stephen was at Goodwin Proctor. Maybe he was at Perkins also.
I think it was Perkins after Goodwin, maybe.
So great firm. San Diego has some amazing IP lawyers.
Oh yeah.
There's a bunch of them, but so anyway, you can't cheap on regulatory, you can't cheap on legal. That is still true to this day. But yeah, they look at the team, and there will be problems that come up. We're managing right now through a regulatory pathway. We're going to get approval for ovarian, breast, pancreatic cancers. Inevitably, by the time we get through this in a year and a half, the treatments will change, right? There'll be new clinical trials in prostate cancer, and we may be a perfect fit. So we know there's going to be pivots. We know there's going to be issues. So you put your best foot forward, and you have a team that can respond and adapt. That's what investors are looking for. Is this team going to make it? And so when you line up these brilliant oncologists, AI architect, scientist, regulatory, business builder, Magda and Francois in the background, holding the training wheels. It's a good story.
I mean,
people do look at that.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, I would. I don't have a magic wand, but it'd be hard for me to believe that you're not going to have a successful capital campaign.
That is definitely the plan.
You have all the ingredients for
plan.
a tremendous success for sure. It's truly amazing what you're doing, and the AI is. I know we're dealing with a world where a lot of people are scared about AI, but I would say technology, for the most part, has helped humanity.
Yeah,
not hurt us. It's human sometimes to use tech in bad ways, but I think AI is going to be tremendous for humanity. I really do.
I'm not really into like seeing a robot as your doctor, like coming in and like touch here if you're feeling sad, like Baymax or something.
But have you seen the robots that or clean your house and make it.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, so totally fine with I've got a Roomba, right? I'm okay with that. But the robot doctor thing. So I think people are fair to have some hesitancy about AI. I do myself, right? And I've got 4 kids. I want them to to work with humans in these kind of things. But again, I think this is the right application of AI.
Yeah, I would agree.
Pathologists, oncologists, patients, all like patient groups, right? We're working with Clarity Foundation for ovarian and PanCan, Pancreatic Cancer Action Network for pancreatic. All love this. It's the right use of AI, right? Where you're reading complex images and giving a critical time-saving diagnosis, right? Yeah. That's where AI is good. As a primary doctor, talking to a robot on a hold with an agent, I could give or take that, but I think this is a great use of AI. People will not be scared of this.
Is there just Dare to Dream a little bit? One of my favorite acronyms, of course. We were chatting about it off air. This prognostics portfolio you're building here. By the way, what's the name of the go-to-market product?
OncoGaze.
OncoGaze.
OncoGaze. So oncology, gazing.
Yep, I love it.
Yeah, OncoGaze.
Okay, so is there... Because at some point, that first cell, I always say it's like the Big Bang moment in our universe, 13.5 billion years ago. But there had to have been something, even a millisecond before the Big Bang, right? It's one of those theoretical physics conversations. So the key here is, before even OncoGaze can figure it all out, what was before? Is there a way to actually go back even further with AI if you were dreaming a little bit?
Yeah, so Ludmil, our inventor, has had other published successes using application of AI. That a Netflix algorithm there's PR about that with him too. So it's really Ludmil's convergence of computational AI and biology and his cancer research and his role here at Moores Cancer Center. That convergence in his own brain really is where this has been over the last 15 years, right? So
I think we may have a new podcast again. We have the Magda and Francois hour. Now we have Ludmil's brain.
Ludmil's brain would be a heck of a. I mean, he just got published for a colorectal discovery that could change early detection of colorectal cancer. Right now, you've got the, you do the mail order thing when you're older. He's got new science or new discovery where they can see this precursor to it in kids. And you can do a probiotic kind of treatment for that that will lower the risk of that. And this is that early onset colorectal cancer. So you talked about this earlier, like why is cancer getting worse, right? Aren't we getting better? Well, some are getting better, right? Early stage breast cancer is a 95% survival rate, used to be 20%.
Prostate cancer is better.
Prostate cancer early. So some of these are getting better, but there's others. A lot of it's environmental. Our diets, our air, our screens, whatever it may be. Yeah. That's what's causing some of these weird ones, like early age colorectal cancer is doubled in the developing world over the last 20 years. That's not normal. It has to be our diet, processed foods, all that stuff, right? That's a whole nother podcast. But Ludmil's discovered a marker there, and there's going to be some IP for him.
Please tell me Ludmil, with all of his research, is not indicating that San Diego's iconic carne asada burritos have nothing to do with any of this.
It's geographically immune, so it's all over the place. Yeah, it's not pasta, it's not wine, it's not carne asada. You're good.
Thank you, Ludmil. So listen, Ludmil's brain could be a fascinating podcast brought to you by Acurion.
Monster Energy drinks and stuff like that.
Probably.
I hate to tell my kids that, but it's probably the
I'm a little concerned about the red dye going away because my Fruit Loops won't look the same anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
No. Rick, I really, really hope that you're going to let us follow this journey with you.
We definitely will.
We'd love to have you back on the show.
Yeah.
Bring Ludmil, bring Francois, bring Magna.
Yes.
But because I think we can teach the entire San Diego community, the listeners who aren't, near and, their nose to the grindstone of biotech to see how a company gets started.
A San Diego success story.
It'd be cool to kind of follow it on Spotlight to see how this thing all works out, because I know you have great success here. I think we're probably looking at a future billionaire when the company goes public or gets taken out by some big company.
Great. Well, we'll play this podcast in the
just remember us when.
The beginning PR of that, yeah.
And when you do decide that after you make your $1 billion and you throw a big party in Sardinia or Sicily, please remember us. We'd like to come along.
Absolutely. I'm going to Ancona for 2 weeks at the end of the summer for a wedding. So I'll be back.
Good for you. A little destination wedding, huh?
Destination. Yeah, it's a family friend, but it's great to catch up with you. And I've learned so much from folks like you and Joe and all my years at Biocom, and really getting to put that into action now is I've been helping startups just like this company for 15 years.
Yeah.
Right. And it's so exciting to do it on this side of the table.
No, we had a young listen, first of all, you're being very kind. Yeah, you did amazing things at Biocom, and of course Joe is legendary in the field. But I'm happy for you now that you're getting to fly an airplane, because it is different and it is organized chaos 24/7.
Love that. I love it though.
You got to thrive on organized chaos.
Yeah.
That would be my only tip to you, Rick, from one entrepreneur to now to another, is thrive in organized chaos.
Yeah. Luckily, I do. I've got 4 kids, and and again, been built the Biocom purchasing group. From startup to pretty big beast, right? So that was organized chaos.
$1 billion.
I love it.
And so I tell you, Kristen, I think I kind of hijacked the mic.
No, it's fine. No, it's been fascinating to learn. And I look forward to you coming back on and teaching us some more and following the journey, because it's definitely a very inspiring and necessary venture. So
yeah, I'm really excited because this is really a powerful, powerful reason why we have Spotlight in the community.
For sure.
Life sciences is critical to this industry. This community is an economic driver, and it is the innovation economy in San Diego.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna do a little plug real quick for life science, if you don't mind, Kristen, because when you look at the economic drivers, you're so
continue, please. Yes, yeah.
There's so many economic drivers of San Diego. Military is here. Incredible. It's a ballast. It's an economic ballast for the community. Tourism is big, but lots of cities have tourism. Let's not kid ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Totally.
Virtually nobody in the world has what San Diego has with life sciences. And it is to me, it's the most valuable, priceless, incredible, golden element of San Diego that we have to nurture, we have to learn more about, we have to really, really embrace it.
Yeah.
And so having an opportunity here on the Spotlight and Community Show to be kind of on the ground floor of an Acurion and what you're doing in this thing called cancer, which devastates families. I think it's incredible for us to be a part of it. So if we can just continue to tell the story and how you're using AI, we can go on forever and ever. And the talent you've assembled here, it's just breathtaking. Yeah. So we're excited to be a part of telling your story as you kind of move forward here.
No, I appreciate it. And we've talked about, pain points in the healthcare system and money and time and all that. But at the end of the day, think about the suffering that's going to go away, right? That weight can cost to your lives. Worst case, cost of lives. Even best case, you're just anxious for 4 weeks as you wait, as you feel this cancer just eating you up. You're waiting for an additional test to get on a treatment. So many things that we can solve here, but the human element of it, the families suffering, the uncertainty, all that stuff, that's what drives us.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
No question about it. Well, listen, our listeners, you've been listening to Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community, part of Cloudcast Media, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. We really, really hope you've enjoyed this episode with Rick Fultz, the CEO of Acurion. And if it does sound like a cure is on the horizon, it's probably because it is. And we're going to continue to follow the story of Acurion as Rick Fultz and the team continue to build this company. And it's been a pleasure to be here with you, Rick. Thank you so much for joining Spotlight on the Community. Hope everyone enjoyed the show.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.